Testing one.
Okay, ready to rock.
I'm Rick Schultz. I'm the designer behind Virtual Dynamics audio cables. Virtual Dynamics is designed as a plug-and-play modification audio cable. Okay? It's not a piece of wire. There's lots and lots and lots of pieces of wire that are traded and sold in the audio industry. This really goes beyond that to try to introduce two different technologies, and we just happen to use the wire to be able to use those technologies to try to improve the sound of an audio system. Okay? Those two things, those two core things, there's actually three of them. One, the conductor itself, if it's not properly thought through, is going to introduce a level of distortion. In fact, sometimes such a high level of distortion that it is one of the reasons why we have output devices in our amplifier that stop the transistors and tubes from blowing up, from seeing such demanding loads, because stranded wire is one of the worst things you can do to an audio system. It does help you to be able to tune a system. So if you see the first part here, we have bass and treble controls replaced by modern cables. When they took away our bass and our treble control, we could no longer tune that, but sometimes we had to. We put together, get our new preamplifier, put it in our audio system, and find out that it sounded a little bit too bright. There was no knob to turn. So where were we left to? Buy a new set of speakers? I don't think so. How's that going to help? You know, it was just a lack of understanding and going on and starting to go into dealerships, and they say, well, it's your cables that's the problem. Things that you should look to us for is new technologies in the marketplace, and that's what I'm going to be showing you here today. I want to talk to you about why the cable industry has grown so much, and one of the reasons why cable industry has grown so much is because they do introduce the ability to be able to change the sound of your system through a distortion known as nonlinear distortion. We'll go to the next figure. By definition, for an engineer working on a CAD program, if he was to be able to design an amplifier and he had to go from point A to point B in a circuit, and for some reason he had two trace leads, the computer will actually prompt him, and I know ours does, to say, well, why are you doing that? That'll create nonlinear distortion. It basically means that those two trace leads cannot possibly be exactly the same as in conductivity. So one will carry the entire signal, but so will the other, but those two can't exactly arrive at the same time. Okay? So you have to just use one when you're doing that in order to maintain linearity. If you go from point A to point B, but you have more than one pathway, you're going to be creating nonlinear distortion. What does nonlinear distortion do? I want to go to the next screen. Nonlinear distortion basically creates two separate signals. Okay? The first signal, once it's separated entirely by itself in a new conductor, you could take it to point C if you wanted to. You could go anywhere you wanted to, and it will still conduct that signal. So you've actually taken your signal, you split it up into two, now you have two signals, and those two signals, depending on how conductive the wire is, may be different. In fact, on purpose, people are actually building for you conductors that have two different gauge sizes. Now both of them, if you've used conductors in the past, one guy has a 12 gauge conductor, another guy has a 16 gauge conductor. Is there any one of you that wants to believe that your 16 gauge doesn't carry a 20 cycle frequency? Or another guy that wants to believe that the 12 gauge doesn't carry 20 kilohertz? That's just not true. They both carry all of those frequencies. Okay? The difference is, based on the size of the conductor, it will have a different amount of resistance to all those frequencies. So if you were to send your signal through this conductor, and you would send it on a 16 gauge conductor, what will happen is you see your point here at the end is just slightly behind this one here, which represents a 10 gauge conductor, because that's how current works. So if we were to take that signal and we put it through to your driver, now imagine all the interconnects and speaker cables that you have in between that are all adding to this scenario. Okay, they're going to be bringing this in, and for the example, we're just doing one small error, one 16 gauge along with a 10 gauge conductor. Okay, it's a pretty big error, but I've seen worse. You see 60, 70, 80 different strands of conductors, all at different lengths, even in some wires, like just amazing stuff happening. And what happens is it does change the sound a lot, but when this first signal comes in, what is it doing? On the side of the driver itself, right in there, you actually got what's called a voice coil. This is an electromagnet. That electromagnet is being charged from the amplifier, which outputs AC, either positive or negative, charges that electromagnet, and as it does that, the driver moves back and forth. So if you were to charge that driver, and you charge it in a positive fashion, and it's moving forward, at that one point in time, that's going to have to change that signal so the driver can come back, right? So the 10 gauge signal starts to come back. Guess what? This guy that was a little late, and still has tons and tons of power, is still pushing forward. It's still positively charged. That doesn't take place at the driver anymore. That actually goes now back to the amplifier, where the amplifier output devices are driving directly into one another. Okay? The signals are driving into one another. And what's going to happen is you're actually creating what would be considered a dead short. Okay? It would actually blow up the amplifier in many cases, in most cases, if it wasn't for the fact that we put things like transformers and output networks on amplifiers to protect them. Okay? If we were to go with all this sort of cabling, we could actually eliminate that output device or that network in almost all amplifiers. Currently, you'd be insane to build one without it. Okay?